Welcome to my podcast, Amicably Yours. My name's Jana. I am a partner at Stokes Law LLP. I am a family lawyer and I am a family mediator. I also do parenting coordination for family law files, and the whole point of this podcast is to discuss with you how we can move conflicts forward amicably, how we can resolve conflicts, and what kind of alternative dispute resolution processes are available in family law. I will be having multiple guests on my episode, including a divorce coach, a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, a therapist. We're all going to be discussing how problems can be solved in the most effective way possible, especially, with separation and divorce and when there's children involved. I will be using Mrs. Doubtfire as my theoretical example for all of my guests this season. So you'll see that theme will be continued throughout my episodes. And if you have any questions, please comment and I'd be happy to answer them on my next episode. Hi, I'm Jana. Welcome back to Amicably Yours. With me is Heidi. She is a divorce coach here in Calgary, and her and I work really closely together on many of our files. I thought Heidi would be the perfect guest to have on my episode 1 because we have a lot to talk about in terms of resolving family law conflicts and how to move parties forward amicably throughout this divorce process or separation. And so Heidi, welcome. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell the listeners a bit about what you do and your business?
You bet. So I feel like I am everything in between your family lawyer, your therapist, your financial planner. It's the real-time support that people need in the moment, acutely, emotionally, managing the process, with their communication, with their kids, you name it. There's always something that comes up that you need to chat with someone who has experience with expertise and is also unbiased and non-judgmental and helps you think through to the next step. And that's sort of the high level of what I do. And it was born out of my own experience, saying to myself during my own divorce, where's the support you actually need? And that's really where it came from.
Right, because lawyers offer the legal advice and the legal support, and the therapists, have the emotional support. But what happens with all of the missing sections in between, and who helps you in the moment?
That's right.
And who even guides you before you separate?
That's right.
Because I'm assuming lots of your clients might reach out to you before they even.
Oh yeah, and that's the point of coaching. I mean, it's going to someone who can look at where you are in your life and help you move forward. So if you're contemplating if something's not right, all the way through to the actual separation, all the way through to how to manage the logistics of the separation, to how you're going to parent, you need to think through that in real life. And it makes life easier for you as a client because you're managing all of those feelings and emotions and logistics and the process, and then it clarifies your goals and the outcomes that you want, tries to eliminate conflict, and then also the best part is allows your lawyer to do what they do best, which is advocate for you within the law. And oftentimes lawyers, family law is emotional. It's an emotional, practice of law. Naturally. And so good lawyers, have that compassion, but lawyers aren't trained as armchair psychologists or armchair coaches. They need to advocate for the law and create the legal strategy and maintain and advocate for that legal strategy. So who's there to help you think through, how am I going to get the kids to school when I have to be at work at 8 now? Or how am I going to send this email that's going to make the other side of things blow up? Or how am I going to manage that blow up? And so that's all the real-time life support that a coach brings onto a file.
What I really value about your role in our, let's say, divorce system, right, is that you already prep the clients for what to expect, right? And so from my perspective, I find that to be really helpful, is that they already come to me and understand, okay, we need to talk about parenting and parenting plan, and actually I've already mentioned this to Heidi and we have an idea, right? And that's so helpful when they've already accepted what needs to happen. They've already accepted that there's a process. They already know that it's quite lengthy, and then they come and you guys have already brainstormed possible solutions, and I find that they are already a lot calmer and more used to the idea of what's going to happen.
Yeah, they're not foggy, and I mean, it really does come from a place of where's the support you actually need, and I really stayed close to my own experience, and now, I mean, I've seen hundreds of clients, but when you're in that moment of knowing what to expect at a law firm, or not knowing what to expect when
it's scary.
It's so scary. So to have that prep, to go in, it makes the meetings more efficient, it helps you understand the process, and you go in with clarity. So and plus, there's always noise. So your friends and family can only go so far. Your neighbor's sister's cousin's boyfriend's husband's friend down the street had their parenting plan. So, but that's not the right one for you. And so how you kind of strip away that noise, strip away the lenses of other people's experience, and really think for what's going to be in the best interest of you and your family, and this shift in your family ecosystem, which, you know, we work together so well to understand that divorce happens, and it doesn't have to be inflammatory, it doesn't have to be high conflict. There's lots of conflict we deal with, but together we really try to help people understand that they can create a situation that does shift the family ecosystem and helps the kids understand that it's going to be okay, even though they may not like it and it does have impact on them. It's okay because the relationship itself is between the adults. And that part of it, you know, you can talk about in therapy, but take what you talk about in therapy for sure, and that there's a place at the table for the therapist, but how do you take all of those pieces and look at it from a 30,000 foot view and decide? And that's really what I bring to the table.
And on that point, when emotions are high, something just happened, you know, our clients might react, something new happened, they're blowing up, something's happening. I also find it so valuable that they can call you and talk with you about that, and then you bring this like level-headedness and say, it's okay, we're gonna deal with it, Jana and I are gonna talk about it, we're gonna come up with a game plan or a next step, let's just take a breath and just know that we have a plan.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that that's so valuable for clients too, because they do have this almost instant access to you sometimes.
Yeah, they do. It's
right?
just,
Right? I know you're very busy, but yeah.
Within reason, but yeah, that's what I needed too. I needed to know that there was someone on the other end who could help me even in the moment or in the day, right? So to know that you can reach out and have that help that continues the momentum forward. And I think you made a really good point about clearing your mind and your emotions to be able to meet with your lawyer and strategize. A lot of clients will come to their lawyer with the story, and you're trying to get information out, and that's your job. So prepping a client to take pieces of the story and help them decide how they're going to share the story with you is hugely crucial to a process that flows really smoothly, rather than getting caught in the items of the story. And of course we're going to hear the story, and that's what we're about. I can pick out items of the story that are important for you to know, and then they can tell it from a
legal impact.
Yeah, and also there are shades of gray that we deal with together, where they might come to you saying, yeah, I want it, you know, it's time we separate, we've got 4 kids. There's a shade of gray where there might be some manipulation, there might be some alienation, there might be some addiction issues, there might be personalities that are difficult to deal with. Family violence, absolutely. So to have an advocate for you, to be able to say to you, Jana, let's talk about this aspect, this is important to this file, again, allows a voice in real time that they can rely on and helps you do your job better.
We make a good team.
We do. We make a really good team.
Heidi, have you watched Mrs. Doubtfire?
Who hasn't watched Mrs. Doubtfire? I've seen it so many times, and then I've watched it with myself and my kids, and yeah, it's such a great movie.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Mrs. Doubtfire,
okay,
and we're going to use that movie and that family as our example, and I want the listeners to understand how you would approach both Miranda and Daniel if they were your clients. So let's start.
I don't know that I dress up as an older lady to see my kids, but you know what? Parents are desperate.
Oh, it's so funny. Like when he like pushes his face in the cake, and there's like the cream, and it. Oh, that's my favorite part. Okay.
I'm not gonna sing Aerosmith. Don't worry. Anyways.
That's so good. Okay, so imagine this. All right, Miranda all right, she reaches out to you. Maybe it's even before she has the discussion with Daniel, or maybe it's right after, and this is the situation, 3 kids still living in the same house. What are the first things you guys talk about? What do you do? How do you help her? She's surely emotional.
Yes, well, if it was before, she's obviously highly emotionally charged, very frustrated, and justifiably so, but probably not thinking clearly on how she's going to lead this conversation in reaction or response. And we know that she reacts and has big reactions and big feelings in front of the kids and with Daniel.
Yeah.
And so if it was before, I would definitely have a conversation with her, allowing her to vent her emotions, allowing her to process by talking. I then would help her see clearly about what the right next step is in order to protect herself emotionally and the kids emotionally, and ultimately in front of the kids. As mad at Daniel as she is, she needs to help them understand that she wants what's best for him, she cares about him, he is half of her, he is half of them.
Yeah.
And so to react in front of the kids would not be okay. To blow up and kick him out would not be okay, because it leaves everybody with wounds that are exposed. But there is a place and a time for those emotional reactions, and it's no wonder she's feeling the way she is. So validating those feelings and then helping her see clearly that leading with those feelings might not be the best way. If it's after the fact, we would talk about how it got there, and again, it would be a lot of validation of her feelings, and then it would be an understanding of how to, I would never ever go down the shame spiral of, that was really awful what you did, or, I would appreciate that we react and respond. And when you're seeing red, which is what we deal with often, when people are seeing red, it truly comes from the expression, all the blood's flooding to your emotional brain. You can't think logically when you're seeing red. So naturally people react. And so if we can get some logic back in there and we can think through a logical response, I would help her understand that it's okay. We're all human beings. We all react. I can appreciate and understand why. Let's see what we can do to try to mitigate further emotional upset with the kids and emotional damage, and also that validation of her reaction, and also validation of where Daniel's at, despite all of the pieces in between, is what a family needs to really see clearly. And so I think we would talk about the next steps, and then it would start to build into why the relationship has unraveled, what we can do to help the kids through this time, how she can speak to them, even owning that was irrational. I'm not blaming anyone. I was upset. We have emotions. I'm a person too. I have feelings too. It's my first time doing this, but we need to clean that up, and it's going to be okay. Reframing so that the discourse is between the adults and not the children.
So in the movie, she essentially kicks him out at the birthday party.
Yeah.
Remember, she comes home, there's a big birthday party right in front of the kids. We're done. Blah, blah, blah.
We're done.
So what is your take when it comes to parenting and trying to gently, gesture your clients towards what shared would be or primary? Like, what is your take on that in terms of what's in the best interest of the kids? How do you approach it?
Well, everybody's goal really is to healthy parents with healthy relationships with their kids. That's what you want. And if there's animosity, if there's conflict between the adults, to keep that within the framework of the adult relationship and protect the kids,
Not
right?
let it seep down.
Not at all let it seep down, not let them own any of it, not let them, as best you can, be exposed to that kind of conflict. So, that it was a really inflammatory scene where kids are traumatized, everyone's traumatized. That reaction is what you don't want.
Middle of his birthday party.
And so what we want to do is, if there needs to be a conversation, it's about emotional regulation and awareness of what's okay and not okay in front of your kids. And we want to make sure that they understand that relationships change, relationships between adults change, you know, you don't want to compromise yourself. There are things that happen in a marriage that people evolve and change, and that's okay. And we're going to make sure that there's minimal impact. Obviously, there's going to be impact on you, but we want to create a situation where you have both your parents, your loving parents, in your life. And I often say to my clients, we're shifting your family ecosystem to look differently. And it's a lot of focus on the logistics, because the emotions, we want the parents to support the kids with their emotions, not the other way around, or have them impacted by your giant emotions. And hey, we're all human, and that happens. If it happens, there's a way to clean it up and own it and showcase and talk about what you can do to change that and make it better for them. There's lots of situations we deal with where both parents may not be in the healthiest state. And those are situations we look at really closely and make sure that all decisions about parenting time, parenting decision making are made in a way that is in the best interest of the kids. And we also hear that, I want what's best for my kids. This is not in the best interest of the kids. If it is emotionally and psychologically and physically, financially and spiritually safe, and none of that is at risk with your children, that is what is in their well-being and best interest. And so kicking their dad out in front of them, not the best move. That's not emotionally nor psychologically safe. That's really traumatic. The why behind it is very adult. And so that's where the kids need to be protected from the why. They don't need to understand that dynamic. That's not for them to own. And so I think that focus on throwing around what's in the best interest of the kids is really teaching parents how to make child-centered decisions. And we see that
truly though, not just using the word and wanting your own way.
Right.
Truly looking what is.
It's not parent A versus parent B, it's parent A and parent B looking at what's in the best interest of the kids. And sometimes we see things like attachment, primary care. You know, people are then fighting over who the kids are more attached to. Well, attachment is biology, and it's clear that the childhood, a young child is attached to mom. That's straight up biology. Yeah. So taking them out of a situation where they're not close to their primary attachment and safe attachment because they need to have week-to-week parenting because that's just the way it is, isn't the right decision for the child.
Yeah.
And so shifting that mindset to making good decisions and evolving parenting into what it needs to be for the child is very different than my idea versus your idea. And oftentimes we see that one of the two ideas is usually close to what's right for the kids. And so it turns into that my idea versus, but you're getting your way. Well, no, again, we need to focus on what makes sense for them emotionally, psychologically, physically, financially, spiritually.
Okay, so that would be the Miranda situation. Now, Daniel comes to you, calls you up, says, Heidi, I don't know what I'm doing. I just got kicked out of the house. I was just trying to have a good birthday party. Miranda says the marriage is done. I can't even see the kids. I see them once a week now in my little apartment. Help me. What do I do?
Yeah.
I love my kids. I want them every day. What do I do?
What do I do? What do I do? Well, definitely we're going to unpack the why, right? And one of the things about coaching and why I chose it is coaching helps people move forward with all the elements of therapy and law and finances. It helps you move forward. So we look at the big picture of the why. So why are we here? So Daniel, why are we here? And that'll add in, well, you know, I haven't got a job, and okay, so I get that pain point that Miranda has. Well, you know, I'm kind of goofy, and you know, I'm a child at heart, which is probably why she fell in love with you in the first place. But now it's kind of grinding as she's adulting and she's got what she feels like is 4 kids. So how to help him put a plan together emotionally, and how he's going to communicate, how he's going to step up and help her understand that it's better for the kids to have more time and what he needs to do, and understanding his blind spots, I think. And I mean, really what we both want, there's a lot of rumors about lawyers. No, we don't want to go to court, and we don't want him to have to make court applications. We really, really don't. Of course, if she's drawing that line and making it really difficult for him to see and there are options that way. We try to avoid that. We try to resolve issues outside the court because it's better for everyone.
It's cheaper, it's less time consuming, and most importantly, it's less emotionally stressful on both parties and the children.
That's right.
And if we can go to a settlement meeting and talk about a parenting plan for Daniel and Miranda, or we go to mediation and we see, hey Daniel, these are the things I want you to step up and do before, then at least we can have that conversation.
And I think, you know, it again is about the kids. It's, Miranda may have these feelings about Daniel, Daniel may have these feelings about Miranda, but right now for the kids, it's not okay for them to see their dad once a week in a dirty apartment and eat spaghetti and be sad.
Yeah.
It's not okay for them, right? So we have to really look and help him understand how to communicate that to Miranda if possible and when possible. So, you know, formulating communication plans is a big part of what I do. The how to say it, the when to say it, the what to say, in order to get a clear message across without emotion and without inflammation, I think is key. And I think I would, you know, I think Daniel and I would create a situation where he would be taking some guidance on how to communicate with Miranda with some validation of her feelings and experience, and then focusing on what the kids need in this moment, and then ensuring that they step aside and work that out between them as to how things are going to go.
So you mentioned that you help clients form these communication plans. Do you work with them so that they frame the wording? Do you help them frame the wording, or do you even do the communication?
All of the above.
Okay.
It's hard to write when you're emotionally charged. It's hard to not defend when you're being accused or attacked of something you didn't do or isn't true. It's hard when you just get a nasty gram. It's hard when you have to ask something that you know is going to cause conflict. So sometimes, I mean, all of the above. So to have someone to give you some guidance on the what, how, and when to say something is key. And then sometimes even have them write. What I often will do is have my clients write what they need to say and want to say so that it's cathartic. They're saying it. I have all the information, and then I get a sense of how they write and sound. And then if they want me to polish it up, I do that. Sometimes I'll write it for them, and then they add in what they want, and then it goes. And sometimes when people are really traumatized and just can't take another dose of inflammation or conflict, I will protect them from that and read and tell them what they need to know.
Okay.
And I'm sure that's, you know, that's, some people are probably thinking, oh gosh, is my ex, you know, having someone do that? It's good for everyone. It's not sneaky, it's not behind the back. It's to lower the temperature and help everybody calm in a way that works for the kids. So that's a lot of what I do. And the interpersonal communication pieces, that's really, I mean, all of this comes from words. And so to have the right words right off the start of understanding how to have the conversation if you want a separation, understanding how to have the conversation with the kids, how to follow up those conversations, and you know, the aftershocks and the questions that come after that, then how you formulate some boundaries. That's a lot of the work of real-time life and what I do to help families just stay on that path of healthy outcomes.
Yeah. Less conflict, more amicable. Let's move you guys forward.
Yeah, and it's about being fair, it's about being reasonable, and it's about being respectful.
Yeah, I like that. Have you ever had a client joke that they're going to dress up like Mrs. Doubtfire?
Oh my goodness, I'd be so sad. I hope no. I mean, I you know, yeah, if that happens, I will be so sad, because you just know that when you see parents that are manipulating and using the kids as pawns, it's so frustrating. But when you see a parent who you know is authentically just wanting what's right for their kids, even if they have to give up time because the child's really young and needs to be near a certain parent, those are the parents that we love. And I really believe that, you know, sure, Daniel's a child at heart, but he just loves his kids so much. And the good news was is Miranda really took the time and space to come to that conclusion. We maybe could have, well, then we wouldn't have a movie, but we maybe could have done that in the beginning.
But this 2-court application.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, when I see parents who are just willing to get on their knees and do anything for their kids to make it okay, that is amazing. And I will do anything to help them, and I know you will too.
So in this movie, one of Daniel's, I think, internal struggles is now he's Mrs. Doubtfire, and he's seeing that Miranda has this new boyfriend, this new partner, and this new partner is spending time with the kids, right? And I'm sure that that is something that a lot of your clients bring up to you, is this fact of repartnering, maybe feelings of being left out, and having somebody else replace them as a parent, right, in their minds. So what do you say to that? How do you deal with that?
Well, I mean, if we're looking at a situation from 30,000 feet, helping parents understand that there is definitely an element of making sure that everyone goes through the separation and divorce and stabilizes long before any sort of new element is introduced, aka a new partner. And I know we work really hard to make sure that parents understand that you don't want to do that too early. And really, how do we want this to go in the long run?
Right.
We want them to like this person,
right.
And we want it, so if it's a healthy relationship and this person's in for the long term, you want to take the time to wait until it is the right time.
Everything's settled, the other emotions have settled, the kids are now used to the new normal.
And then obviously it's talk about, again, human beings and relationships and that's my experience. I mean, I'm a walking case study. I've been through it all, and I'm now I'm remarried with a blended family, and our kids all see us in healthier relationships. Their mom co-parents with me, and we all understand that dynamics of humanity works in some ways and not in others. And I think if you can achieve that and understand that families come in all shapes and sizes, and adding someone in who's going to love your kids is nothing but better for your kids. And I do have parents, and I had the same feeling, oh my gosh, she's gonna replace me, they're gonna like her better, they're gonna like her cooking better, she buys better clothes, or he's so much more fun, or he's Disneyland this and he's taking them in. I don't want this person replacing me. Nobody replaces your mom or your dad. All they do is add more love to their life, and the threat doesn't come from them, it comes from your own feelings about it. And if parents can really see that and learn how to take that to a therapist and process those feelings and understand those insecurities, so that you can add this person in as someone else who's looking after your kids, knowing what's best for them, loving them, that's the best case scenario.
Okay, one last question. You just brought up therapy.
Yeah.
How important is that for you to discuss with your clients and get them into some form of therapeutic process for themselves during or after separation and divorce?
Hugely important. There's a seat at the table for your coach, your lawyer, your financial planner, and a therapist. And oftentimes when I'm working with clients, obviously I have the skill set to uncover what needs to be tackled, whether it's through coaching, whether it's a legal question, or whether it needs to go to a therapist. And so I'll strongly encourage therapy. I think counseling is really important for you to understand and process the trauma, the triggers, your own upbringing, what you've brought to the table, what wasn't okay and what is okay, how to manage your kids when you're in survival mode. All of those kinds of things we take to the therapist and help you process that. And also, your kids need help too, and they need that third party objective talking venue that allows safety for them to just say what they need to say, process what they need to understand relationships. It helps everybody. And so there's always a seat at the table for the therapist. And I will be working with clients, and I'm very clear. We got to put that on the list for the lawyer and ask that question, because I'm not giving legal advice. That's a lawyer question. I can navigate the law. I mean, we work together, and I know what my experience is and what I've seen, but I certainly don't give legal advice and saying, oh, I'm sensing some trauma or something that really is a sticking point. I think we need to take that to your therapist, or I think we need to suggest therapy around that particular topic and beyond.
Yeah, for the adults and the children.
Absolutely.
The kids need to deal with this new reality and understand that their feelings are valid too and work through those. Do you have like an age that you encourage the kids to go? Is there something?
It really depends on what they're dealing with, right? I mean, therapy can start at any age. There's play therapists out there for young kids all the way up through the teens. And so if your child is, I mean, therapy is good for anybody, right? It's like going to your GP. You need a check-in. You need to make sure that you're being really aware of what's going on and where your blind spots are and what's affecting your daily life. And same with your kids. Even if your kid is young and is back and forth to mom and dad's and everything's different and they're feeling chaos, they need a place to just kind of simmer and be and help them understand their feelings, so that also the parents can learn from that therapist as to how to manage a little person all the way up to the teens, right? I mean, we see it lots, and if we can get if kids happen to be stuck in these high conflict situations, which we unfortunately do see a lot of, it's really helpful and critical, I would say, to bring a counselor's expertise to the table so that the child has a safe space to talk. The counselor can then give that objective point of view so that it's not parent versus parent, it's objective. And we've seen that success as well, because it really is speaking from the child's voice in the room with a counselor, not from the courtroom, which is always very stressful too.
It's always a better option.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you for coming to talk to me.
Thanks for having me.
This was really great. And hopefully you can come visit me again soon.
Always.
Bye, Heidi.
Bye-bye.